keep it interesting. Who caught another down? Who got that interception? This is Man Hour, Sport Talk. Man Hour, Sport Talk. What team you reppin'? We keep it interesting. Who caught another down? Who got that interception? Let's go.
And what is up, Man Hour Nation? Michael Boykosh here with the Man Hour. Be sure to go over to manhourradio.com, check out the merchandise page, but most importantly, check out the blog session. We got new and vlogs dropping each and every day over there, and this is Tuesday edition as we continue our trek through the NFL, and we're making a stop on the AFC West. We talked a little bit about the Chargers yesterday afternoon, so if you missed that, you can check it out on podcast form out there on Spotify, iTunes, and of course, iHeartRadio as well. So be sure to Man Hour NFL Talk. 4 words there, man space, hour spash, NFL spash talk. You know what to do, but today we're talking about the reigning Super Bowl champions, the back-to-back Super Bowl champions, the 3-time, no, make it 4-time Super Bowl champions, Kansas City Chiefs. Now, obviously, the Kansas City Chiefs have had a pretty crazy offseason. They're cutting players. Players are getting arrested. Rashid Rice is racing and driving drunk. But that is besides the point. Let's flash back to 2023. The Kansas City Chiefs did finish the season 11-6. Started the year off rough with the loss to the Detroit Lions, but then they rattled off wins over the Jaguars, Bears, Jets, Vikings, Broncos, and Chargers, ultimately losing to the Denver Broncos at Mile High, and then going across the pond and beating the Miami Dolphins. Hit a rough patch of the season. November, December was pretty rough. But January, they turned it on, and they beat the 7th seed, let's use air quotes there, 7th seed Miami Dolphins in the wild card, beat the Buffalo Bills in the division round at Buffalo, went to Baltimore to take on the Baltimore Ravens in the conference championship game, won that game 17-10, and ultimately went to the Super Bowl to take on the San Francisco 49ers and beat them 22-25 in overtime. This year, they went out in the draft. They got themselves a wide receiver by the name of Xavier Worthy, the fastest man in the draft, the fastest 40 time ever. Maybe he can take place for Tyreek Hill, you know, with those deep down threats. They also added some offensive line depth, added some tight end help, and they also drafted a player that I'm pretty excited about, Jaden Hicks, Washington State safety, to maybe replace Xavier Sneed in there. So they had a turbulent offseason. They had a pretty good draft. They had a hell of a 2023, but 2024 is here. 2024 is here, and we are going to talk all about it. But before we start talking about it, we got to welcome the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Pigskin Pundit himself, John freaking Peoples is in the chat. He says that's what they do, is they pick fleas off the queefs. I'm not for sure what you're talking about, but I don't know. There's a lot of comments scrolling in, and I saw John. I had to pull it up, and apparently Chiefs have fleas, and I guess the Raiders pick it off. I don't know. The CFO of the Pigskin Pundit, my man Jim Powell, is in the chat. He says, I see you're smelling your fingers. I'll need to know what you've been doing. I've been picking dingleberries all day long, baby. Woo! Smells like championship to me, but it is what it is. If you guys notice, Jim and John both have diamonds and hearts next to the name. Is that because they are Pigskin Pundits? If you guys would like to become a Pigskin Pundit, simply click on the link below. Subscribe to the channel. You get some merchandise. Look at this nice member. Get Jim's comments off it. You got the nice members only merch here. We got hoodies. We got hats. Of course, you get pre-show. You get some random footages every now and then. And of course, you get to watch any NFL game you want on Sundays. You say, hey, Buck, I don't got the Raiders game in my area. Can you air it? Bada bing, bada boom. I can for you, Mr. Pigskin Pundit. So be like John and Jim and become Pigskin Pundits. It is. John says, and always remember that the Kansas City Chiefs smell like vinegar. Whatever the hell that means. Whatever that means. It is what it is. But guys, this is a live, interactive show. Live, raw, uncut NFL talk. So I see all the comments. If you guys want to pop up, if you want to chit-chat, if you want to talk your shit, get down in the comments and talk your shit down below. When John People thinks the Kansas City Chiefs going 8-9 this season. 8-9 this season. Okay. Casey Morgan says the only team that can derail the Chiefs are the Chiefs. I have to concur with that. I think the Kansas City Chiefs are going to have one hell of a season. My man Timothy Nicholas in the chat says, Jim, LOL. Low on that, Jim. Low on that, Jim. And Jim says, if you watch the clip I posted on AFC West Tax Talk group, Kelsey wants to be a Raider. Nobody wants to be a Raider, Jim. Not even the Raiders want to be a Raiders. YSR Games Grams is in the chase. Says Detroit Lions all day, baby. We already broke down the Detroit Lions, but hey, they are pretty good. Timothy Nicola thinks the Chiefs are going to go 10-7 this season. But guys, post your thoughts down in the comments below. What do you guys think the Chiefs are going to go this season? I've seen 8-9. I see 10-7. But it is time to get into the nuts and bolts of today's show. It is time to break down this 2024 campaign for the Kansas City Chiefs. Like I said, the Kansas City Chiefs went 11-6 last season. They won the Super Bowl, back-to-back Super Bowl champions. But this season, I think they're going to be kind of a much of the same path, right? I think they're really going to go in the right direction this season. Now, their schedule is a little favorable, I want to say, if you just look at it on paper, but they play 6 days of the week this season. I think the only day they don't play this year is like a Tuesday. So they're playing Wednesday versus the Steelers. They're playing Thursday. They're playing Friday on Christmas, right? Then they're playing Saturday. They're playing Sunday. Of course, they're playing Monday night. It's just, they are all over the board. 6 days this week. So that 6 days this season they play on, you guys know what I'm trying to say. They play a lot of different days this season. So that might be the ultimately Achilles heel for the Kansas City Chiefs. But week one, they start off the season, reigning Super Bowl champions, welcoming the Baltimore Ravens into town. Now, many people are skeptical about this game. We saw it last year, right? A lot of hype around this Detroit Lions team last season. They come into Arrowhead and they kind of just thumped the Kansas City Chiefs on opening night, kind of shocking the world, right? I think the Kansas City Chiefs are going to be ready this season. I think they are not going to be overlooking anybody. They are going to really welcome in the critics and the haters and all this stuff. And it starts week one when they thump Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens. I think they're going to beat down the Baltimore Ravens week one. It is not going to be pretty. You can have King Henry. You can have Lamar Jackson. You can have John Harbaugh. You can have whoever you want on that defense. But the simple fact of the matter, the Kansas City Chiefs at Arrowhead, opening night this season, back-to-back Super Bowl champions, going for a three-peat. They're going to be ready, and they're going to be knocking on that door, and they're going to knock the Baltimore Ravens around to show them that last season, last AFC Championship game was not a fluke. It wasn't a fluke. We are going to nail you guys down, down, down. Give me a week one win with the Baltimore Ravens over the Kansas City Chiefs. I said that wrong. Kansas City Chiefs beat down Baltimore Ravens. What do you guys think? Week two, another tough game, but they're still at home. They got a nice 10-day break in between this Ravens and Baltimore game, right? They do play the AFC North. I think the AFC North is going to be the best division in football. I think the AFC West is going to be one of the worst divisions in football. We'll be talking about that more on Friday. But week two, Joe Burrow and the Cincinnati Bengals come into town. There is a lot of pressure on the Cincinnati Bengals in 2024 to win. There is a lot of pressure on them to win right now. And that pressure is going to make them play a little tight. That pressure is going to make them feel like they have to force and win these big games versus the Kansas City Chiefs. Now, I do think they match up very, very well. I think the Bengals and the Chiefs match up very well. But because of the tightness, because of the last of the loosey-goosey that the Joe Burrow and the boys need to do to win games, they're going to lose to the Kansas City Chiefs. The Kansas City Chiefs are not going to beat the Bengals in this game. The Bengals are going to lose this game, meaning a late, arrogant pick six, a fumble at the end of the game, maybe a missed special teams execution, right? The Bengals are going to be a pretty good team. They have to win right now. But that pressure is going to make them collapse week two. And Patrick Mahomes, the Chiefs, they've been there. They've done that. It is what it is. The Chiefs start the season off 2-0. Casey Morgan thinks the Chiefs are going to go 13-3 on the season. Hopefully there's no tie. Hopefully there's no tie. Hopefully he meant 13-4. Hopefully. John thinks they're going to go 4-13, get out of here with that crap. Timothy Nicola thinks the Lions overachieved in 2023. Potentially, we will talk more about the Lions coming up here in the upcoming weeks when we do break down the NFC North again. Got to get my man Luke G back on and talk some more Detroit Lions. My man Mark is in the chat. Mark D is in the chat. He says, what up, Buck? Can't wait for later tonight. We will be talking about the Denver Broncos guys coming up on Thursday. Mark from the NFL Experts will be joining on us. And Timothy says there's a lot of pressure on the Chiefs to repeat. Mahomes running his mouth too much. So I'm glad you brought this up, Timothy, because I do not think the Chiefs cannot handle the pressure that they're putting on themselves. I think there is a method behind the madness of why Patrick Mahomes is talking, why Travis Kelce, even before the Super Bowl parade started, they're like, three-peat. It's time for us to focus. It's because sometimes in the offseason, when you've been there and you've done that, right? The Kansas City Chiefs now in recent memory have done it 3 times, right? It was 3 out of the last 5 years. They have done it. With that being said, sometimes you got to have that added motivation to really carry on into this offseason, to really carry on into the dog days of summer like we are right now, to really carry on through the preseason. I don't think they're adding any pressure to the Kansas City Chiefs whatsoever. If anything, this is good laser focus, right? Meaning good pressure for them is going to help them succeed. Now, if they weren't talking, if they were comfortable, like, hey, you know what? It is what it is. We're just out here coasting. We're out here having a good time. I mean, they're already having a good time. Isn't Travis Kelce in like Europe with what's-her-face, Tay Banks, right? But I think this running on the mouth is good. I think the pressure is good for the Kansas City Chiefs. I think it is awesome for them. Give me the pressure, and I will succeed. Jim says, I'm back. What I miss? I had to take Mahomes and wipe my Andy Reid. So far, the Chiefs are 2-0 on this young season with win over the Baltimore Ravens and the Cincinnati Bengals. Week 3. This is a game where I think a hiccup might occur. This is a game where I think the Kansas City Chiefs are kind of overlooking said opponent. Now, the Kansas City Chiefs have the ability to overlook the opponent and still win, but at the same time, still look bad, right? Kind of like what they did Christmas Day last season. John and Jim will never let me live that down. Christmas Day. The Chiefs were like, you know what? The Raiders suck. Whatever. It is what it is. We just need to get ourselves right. But I think this Week 3 game is when the Chiefs overlook the Atlanta Falcons. I think this Week 3 game, like Casey Morgan just said, is a trap game. I think the Falcons are going to be better than a lot of people want to admit. I think the Falcons are going to be kind of shocking the world like the Detroit Lions did last season. I do think the Kansas City Chiefs drop a close one in Atlanta versus Kirk Cousins and the Falcons. I think it is a really, really ugly game. I think this is a game that we kind of wish we could just like white out on the schedule. Week 3, traveling to a not good Atlanta Falcons team on paper. Come on. Give us a Week 4 matchup. Back on the road. Taking on the Chargers. Justin Herbert and the Chargers. We spoke on the Chargers yesterday. I told you guys how bad the Chargers wide receiver core is. I told you how bad that offense is going to be. I told you how overrated Justin Herbert is. And the Kansas City Chiefs exposed that every stretch of the imagination. The Kansas City Chiefs are pissed off after that Atlanta Falcons game. The Kansas City Chiefs are upset that they went to Atlanta and they laid an egg. Then they're going to go to SoFi Stadium in LA and they are going to drop the wood. 63-point them. 60-piece them. Put it up. As my man Sonic says, speed me up, speed me up. Because that is what Xavier Worthy is going to be doing up and down on the field. Patrick Mahomes going to throw over 500 plus yards. Jay Pacheco might rush for 120 plus another 100 yards out of the backfield. Travis Kelce might find the end zone 3 or 4 times. They're going to walk all over the LA Chargers this Week 4 game. Week 4 game, they're going to basically do what Casey just said. The Chargers are imploding this year, full rebuild next year. This implosion is going to be starting by the Kansas City Chiefs by the epic beatdown that they're going to take Week 4. Giving us a 3-1 record going into Week 5, taking on Derek Carr and the New Orleans Saints finally back at home. Now, this is a game earlier today when I was doing my post for the schedule, right? I initially had the Chiefs winning this game. Then I was like, big win over the Chargers, bye week next week. Are we overlooking the Saints, looking forward to a bye week, looking forward to the San Francisco 49ers the following week? I'm like, okay, maybe the Saints. But then I got to thinking, Derek Carr, has he ever beaten the Kansas City Chiefs? When Derek Carr was a part of the Las Vegas Raiders, did he ever beat the Kansas City Chiefs? And I don't think he did. Looking at the Saints roster, yes, they do have Alvin Kamara still. But who are their receivers still? Chris Olave? That's about it, right? Cedric Wilson Jr., former Kansas City Chief like 5 teams ago. The Saints are going to be kind of a bust of a team this year, I think. I think many people think that the Saints are going to, potentially make a playoff push. Potentially upset the Bucs and the Falcons, right? But I do think this is a close game. I do think this is a battling back and forth game. I do think Derek Carr puts on his best front, but the Kansas City Chiefs defense and the offense is just too much for the New Orleans Saints and Derek Carr. The Chiefs pull this one out, 27-25 type of score. It's going to be a very, very close one-score game. Moving the Chiefs to 4-1 going into the bye week, week 6. Jim Powell says Kelce is not going to do anything. He is enjoying dressing up like Mr. Peanut and putting on makeup on Tay-Tay. I wouldn't say that, but I'm worried about Father Time for Travis Kelce. There is a reason why the Kansas City Chiefs drafted a tight end this season. Travis Kelce's days are numbered. Not because of Taylor Swift, not because of off-the-field issues, just because Father Time is still undefeated. He's a tight end. He gets beat up a lot. Yes, last year was the first game he missed ever in his NFL career. But at the end of the day, he's a tight end. He takes a lot of beating. Week 6 is going to be a good bye week for them. My biggest concern about this bye week, Rashid Rice. I feel that Rashid Rice is probably going to get suspended for 6 games at some point this season. I feel that a suspension is looming. Yes, I know he hasn't been convicted of anything yet. He has a lot of hush money out there. A lot of, I didn't do that. Here's $1 million, right? But this bye week could make or break the Kansas City Chiefs. Hopefully everybody stays healthy, keeps their nose clean, comes out unscathed, comes out unsuspended. Give us a week 7 epic matchup. San Francisco 49ers taking on the Kansas City Chiefs at Santa Clara, California. Rematch of Super Bowl. Now, both teams are coming off bye weeks. Andy Reid historically is very, very good coming off of a bye week. Kyle Shanahan, 500 coming off of a bye week. However, this game means a hell of a lot more for the San Francisco 49ers than it does the Kansas City Chiefs. Why? Because the San Francisco 49ers have something to prove. They have something to prove that they are not just a flash in the pan, always the bridesmaid. They want to be able to say that we are a top team in the NFL year after year after year. And by doing that, they have to beat the Kansas City Chiefs. To put the San Francisco 49ers on this top pedestal, that many people are doing, they have to beat the Kansas City Chiefs. The Chiefs are not worried about the San Francisco 49ers whatsoever. This does not affect them long-term at all. It affects the San Francisco 49ers more because they have a lot of off-season drama that involves contracts. Brandon Ayuk basically trying to force his hand at a trade. Week 6 was a bye week for the San Francisco 49ers. Do they trade Brandon Ayuk at this point? Is Brock Purdy throwing the ball around like an MVP level quarterback, or is he back down to average? Week 7, I do think the Kansas City Chiefs do drop the San Francisco 49ers, though. Second loss of the season, putting them at 4-2 on the season. Give us a Week 8 matchup. Staying out west. Traveling to Allegiant Stadium and taking on the Las Vegas Raiders. A place where the Kansas City Chiefs have never lost. The Kansas City Chiefs have never lost in Vegas. And that trend continues. Aiden O'Connell, you can flex all you want saying we were the last team to beat Kansas City in 2023 season. Well, guess what? It's 2024 season and the Chiefs come to play. They had a nice little battle versus the San Francisco 49ers, but they had this game circled on this calendar. Week 8, it's going down, baby. Raiders, do you remember that Broncos win 63-21? Do you remember you guys beating us Christmas Day and saying, oh, we the best, we the best? Kansas City Chiefs come into Las Vegas and they beat down the Raiders. They beat down a terrible Las Vegas Raiders team. A Raiders team that doesn't want anything to do with the Kansas City Chiefs. The Raiders are happy playing the Chargers and the Broncos. They don't want to play the Kansas City Chiefs. Get out of here. Jim says it's a loss for Kansas City and Las Vegas and Kansas City. We sweeping. Ain't a damn thing the Chiefs can do. I disagree. Week number 9. Seems like forever since the Chiefs have played a home game. Been what, damn near 3 to 4 weeks at this particular point, but they're back at home. Week 9, taking on Baker Mayfield and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Now, I like me some Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I love me some Baker Mayfield. However, the Tampa Bay defense is kind of worrisome. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers defense scares me, meaning they're not very good. Offense is going to be A-okay. They got Mike Evans, they got Chris Godwin, they got Baker Mayfield, they got a plethora of running backs. They have a pretty decent offensive line. But I think the Kansas City Chiefs defense and the offense is just too much for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to handle. Give me the Chiefs victory in this one. Giving them back-to-back wins over the Raiders and the Broncos. Now we back on the saddle. Now we back rolling. Then week 10, we back at home, taking on the Denver Broncos and Jarrett Stidham or Bo Nix or Zach Wilson or whoever else quarterback they might particularly have that particular week. This game's not even close. Not even close. The AFC guys might be the worst division in football, and that's because of the Broncos, Raiders, and Chargers. They're all not very good. The Broncos might be the worst of them all. Sorry, Mark, but it's true. Kansas City Chiefs win this game. Give us 3 games in a row. Then the Week 11 game that we've all been waiting for. The Week 11 game that many people have circled on the calendar saying this is going to be must-see TV. This is the game that many people think is the measuring stick for both teams going in for the rest of the season. Forget who it was on the comments thinking that the Buffalo Bills are going to win this game. Buffalo Bills are going to go 14-3 on the season. There's a reason why this game is on the calendar year after year after year. It is a great game. It's a great game. And the Buffalo Bills get the Kansas City Chiefs in the regular season, it seems like every time. And this year's no different. I think the Kansas City Chiefs go into Buffalo and they kind of just drop an egg. They kind of stumble over themselves all game long. Josh Allen looked like an MVP. that non-dangerous wide receiver core actually looks pretty dangerous all game long. Hell, MVS might score a couple of touchdowns. He might drop 5 passes in his chest, but he might score a couple of touchdowns still. This Kansas City Chiefs game, or the Buffalo Bills game versus Kansas City Chiefs, I just don't think the Chiefs show up. I don't think the Chiefs are mentally prepared to play in Buffalo in the regular season, and I don't know why. And they dropped this game. Casey Morgan says Allen doesn't have Diggs anymore. I think they're going to lose to the Chiefs, no challenge. Now, I have said, and I still stand by it, that nobody on the Bills receiver core really scares me. But at the same time, last year, Kansas City Chiefs wide receiver core, nobody scared you. Kansas City Chiefs had no idea who their go-to guy was till like week 15. That's what made that receiver core so dangerous. When you look at the Buffalo Bills receiver core, yes, they are very, very young. They have a rookie. They have a second-year guy. They have a nice 1-2 punch that tied in with Knox and Kincaid. But I do think the Buffalo Bills win this Week 11 game. I do think the Kansas City Chiefs drop an egg. Give us a Week 12 matchup. Still on the East Coast, still on the road. Taking on Bryce Young and the Carolina Panthers. This Week 10, 11, 12 is a stretch of games that it would not surprise me if the Kansas City Chiefs drop all 3. Versus the Broncos, versus the Bills, versus the Panthers. And like, what? The Panthers? You talking about the terrible Panthers? Yeah. This game worries me. Because after losing to the Buffalo Bills the way they lost, right, kind of just got manhandled, forgot to show up, laid an egg. The Kansas City Chiefs quite haven't pushed the reset button yet. Going into Week 12, they're still looking back like, man, we played that bad versus the Buffalo Bills. And they're going to be cakewalking through this Carolina Panthers team. And it's going to come up, it's going to bite them in the ass. And the Kansas City Chiefs lose Week 12 to the Carolina Panthers. 2 games in a row now the Kansas City Chiefs have lost to the Buffalo Bills and the Carolina Panthers. The talk on our show, on Sports Center, on NFL Good Morning, whatever show you're watching, the lead show after this Sunday game, after the Kansas City Chiefs have lost to the Buffalo Bills and the Carolina Panthers, like, whoa, are the Chiefs any good? Are the Chiefs in trouble? What's going on in Kansas City? What is this? What is that? Right? There was going to be a lot of paradox happening. There was going to be a lot of doxing. There's going to be a lot of like, what in the world is going on? Right? And I will be the first to admit it. I'm going to be, what the hell is going on in Kansas City? If this happens, what is going on? What's happening is they got Week 13 game versus the Las Vegas Raiders. What's going to happen is the Raiders are going to come into town. The Raiders think they got the Kansas City Chiefs on the rope yet again. Right? Late November, late December game. What date is this game? Late November game. The Raiders think that, hey, we can go into Kansas City again. They're playing bad. They're playing sluggish. We can beat them again. But Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid and Ajay Paseko, the boys are like, slow it down, baby. The Raiders might come in with chest all pumped out. Chiefs on a 2-game losing streak. It doesn't matter. The Kansas City Chiefs sweep the Raiders. They beat the Raiders. They beat them bad again. Devontae Adams might punch another cameraman. Gardner Minshew might have to shave his mustache after this game because he got beat down so freaking bad. They may have lost to the Panthers. They may have lost to the Bills. But come Week 13, Kansas City Chiefs right the ship, and they are downright beating down the Las Vegas Raiders. No question in my mind. Timothy Nicholas says, buddy, the Chiefs, back up, my guy, could beat the Panthers. I think he's saying the Chiefs will beat the Panthers. Timothy, I think it's a trap game. I think that Week 12 game versus the Carolina Panthers is a trap game. Because Week 13, they got the Raiders. Week 14, they're back at home. They're playing the Chargers. A bad Chargers team. This game's not even close either. It might be close on the scoreboard, but the Kansas City Chiefs are going to dominate this game up and down the field. Over and over and over. Chiefs are back on track, giving them 2 wins in a row. Now, Week 15. I cannot remember if it was Casey or if it was somebody else, but they said that the AFC North could potentially sweep the Kansas City Chiefs this season. If you guys remember right, the Kansas City Chiefs do play all NFC North teams. They've already played the Bengals. They've already played the Ravens. They play the Browns and the Steelers on a Wednesday night. This Browns team is a team where I don't know what to expect. I've watched a lot of film on the Browns. A lot of mini camp, a lot of OTAs, a lot of offseason workouts with quarterbacks in 7-on-7. I've watched a lot of Cleveland Browns the last 3 days. Probably 20 hours worth. I do not know how good or how bad the Cleveland Browns are going to be. They are so up and down in practice, I don't know whether they're coming or whether they're going. Deshaun Watson one day looks amazing, putting the ball exactly where it needs to be over and over and over. The next game, hell, the next rep is 20 feet above the guy's head. Watch it. Deshaun Watson has had a bad minicamp. Now, the media is going to say, oh, he's good, he's rusty, whatever. No, he's been bad. But the Browns' defense is amazing. The Browns' running game is amazing. The Browns' receiver core is top-notch. Just like we said about Russ, just doesn't have to suck. Deshaun Watson just doesn't have to suck. And I think this Week 15 matchup, Deshaun Watson doesn't suck. I think Patrick Mahomes plays a B game versus this Browns defense and is just not good enough to beat them. I think the Browns beat the Kansas City Chiefs in this Week 15 matchup, giving the Kansas City Chiefs their 5th loss on the season. That's right, 5th loss. Give us a Week 16 matchup back at home. Potential playoff preview, right? High-flying Houston Texans taking on the Kansas City Chiefs at Arrowhead. Actually, Week 15 is the Steelers. Why? What's going on here? Messed up. My bad, guys. This is Week 17. I got to make mixed up. Week 16 is the Steelers. The Wednesday night game. This is the game that I'm very confused about why we're doing a Wednesday night game. Stupid, in my opinion, but hey, it is what it is. After playing a really good Browns team the week before, short work week, going back to Pittsburgh, back on the road, playing a really good Steelers team with the quarterback that just doesn't have to suck, I think the Chiefs pull this one out. I think the Chiefs are more equipped to play on a short work week than the Pittsburgh Steelers are. Yes, the Pittsburgh Steelers do play that Saturday night as well, coming into Wednesday. And I think the Steelers just dropped an egg. Give us the Week 17, not 16 matchup, back at home, taking on the Houston Texans. Houston Texans. This is a game where I am complexed about. This is a game that I am... Actually, it's not mixed up. I'm sorry, guys. I messed up. It is Week 16 for the Texans. My fault. But this is a game that I'm complexed about. This is a game that I do think the Texans will be coming back down to where they are no longer overachieving till they're no longer being an outlier. But at the same time, they're still a pretty good team. They added Danielle Hunter this offseason. They added Stephon Diggs, right? Tank Dell is back. CJ Stroud in his second season. D'Amico Ryans in his second season. The Texans are going to be a good team. They're going to be a solid team. If I'm not mistaken, this is a Monday night football game. Sunday night football game. Nope. Sunday afternoon game. I think the Chiefs beat the Houston Texans in this game. I think they The Texans just aren't quite there yet to beat a team like the Kansas City Chiefs. Give us a Week 18 matchup. Kansas City Chiefs, back-to-back weeks on the road, going to Pittsburgh and then going to Denver Broncos playing in Mile High Stadium. Right now, the Kansas City Chiefs are 11-5 on the season. Probably at this time, the Broncos are probably playing Bo Nix at this particular time. Jarrett Stidham is up there, but it's probably going to be Bo Nix. And I think the Broncos are probably going to be trying to lose this game. But I think this is a pretty close game. I think Carson Wentz probably plays in this game for the Kansas City Chiefs. The Chiefs probably have the number 1 seed locked up at this particular point, if not number 2 seed either way. They can't move up and they can't move down in this particular game, but the Chiefs win this game. They beat the Broncos, giving them a 12-5 regular season. I think the Chiefs will be a 12-win team this season. Last season, they were 11-6. When you look at their schedule, the front half of the schedule is pretty painful. You play the Ravens, you play the Bengals, you're at Atlanta, you're at San Francisco, you play the Buccaneers, you play the Bills. Kind of tough sledding there, right? Middle gets kind of easy. Panthers, Raiders, Chargers. But then the back half, you got the Browns, you got the Texans, you got the Steelers and the Broncos again. The Chiefs do have a favorable schedule to win a lot of games this season. However, the travel, the lack of rest, the extra rest, the stupid amount of games that they play on non-Sundays and Mondays is just stupid to me. But I do think the Chiefs go 12-5 this season. I do think they have a successful season. I do think they are competing for the AFC West at this particular point. We talked about it yesterday. I think the Chargers will be a 6-win team. The Chiefs so far are a 12-win team. When we break down the Raiders and break down the Broncos, we'll see if they can get 12 wins. But if you guys have been listening to the context clues here, you can pretty much tell you that the Chiefs are probably going to win the West. And that is the poll question for today, guys. Do the Chiefs win the West? Let me guys know. Do the Chiefs win the West? Did I not end the poll? Started the poll. I don't know. But in the end, let me guys know. This is Men Hour NFL Talk, live, raw, uncut NFL Talk. Tomorrow, 2:30 p.m. East Coast time, we're talking those Las Vegas Raiders again. Stay tuned. Until next time, we out.